Thanks, Lisa, and thanks to everyone who's joining in today. Today, I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the criminology and criminal justice side of this degree. You've already had a talk about the law degree, and like the previous speakers were saying, this is a full law degree, so you're doing your BCL with an additional specialisation in criminology and criminal justice. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what criminology and criminal justice is, the structure of the programme, what some of our graduates have done working in the field of criminal justice, that have graduated with a law degree, and also some of the staff teaching on this program. So first of all, what is criminology? So criminology really is about the study of why people commit crime. And it's a discipline that dates back a couple of centuries. And when it first kind of emerged in the 18th, 19th century, criminologists thought they could find out a simple cause of crime and solve that crime problem, so eradicate crime from society. But actually, as we've developed over the centuries, there's been a lot of different disciplines contributing to the study of criminology, and criminologists ask questions that are much more complex now. So things like, for example, the prison population, 95% of the prison population is male. So it leads us to questions of why is it that men commit so much more crime than women? What is it about the male that makes him so criminogenic? So these are kind of issues that we'll explore when looking at the discipline of criminology. Other kind of criminological questions would be things like, are biological factors an influence on people's behaviour and their likelihood of rule breaking or breaking the criminal law, or are social and environmental factors more influential on people's behaviour? So criminologists have often debated those two issues, and they kind of feed into that nature-nurture debate that is evident in sociology more generally. So criminologists also ask questions of the system. Why is it that the criminal law seems to focus more on ordinary crime or low-level crimes versus crimes of the powerful, or white-collar crimes of organisations or corporate organisations or governments? So there seems to be a disjoint there. If we look at our prison population, it seems to reflect those of a certain socioeconomic background, but we know that that doesn't reflect the level of offending behaviour in society across the social classes. So criminologists ask these kind of questions in order to try and assess how we measure crime, how we look at offending behaviour, how society responds to those who break the rules. In terms of the criminal justice side of the course, criminal justice really focuses on the system. So in criminal law, for example, we focus on an individual act. A person acts in a certain way, and did they intend to break the rules and commit that act, right? But with criminal justice, we're looking at the system and how the system responds to those people who are alleged to have broken the rules. So sometimes we think of it in legal terms. We might think of the jury system, which decides the guilt or innocence of a person. But there are other more complex questions and kind of institutions that are at play also. Think about the policing process. What powers do the police have to enter your home or to stop you and arrest you, or what are the rules surrounding the powers that they have, which is really important because it affects us all as citizens. And what kind of mechanisms of accountability are there when the police break the rules, for example? That's another kind of part of the criminal justice system. And think about sentencing offenders. When a person has been found guilty, what factors do we take into consideration when we are sentencing a person? Is it the seriousness of the offence, or should we take into consideration the circumstances of the offender? Should we take into consideration their likelihood of committing further offences when they're released from prison, for example, if they're being sentenced to a term of imprisonment? So they're all the elements of the criminal justice system that we will be exploring in those modules in the degree. In terms of the structure of the degree, it's a 4-year degree similar to the other BCL modules, and you will also be covering some of the core fundamental legal foundations in first year, second year, and in final year of the degree. Really, this degree just adds additional components of criminology and criminal justice to your degree, so it's kind of an additional skill set, if you like. But you still have all the kind of key modules that you would need if you want to become a solicitor and a barrister. So in the first year, you'll study criminology and criminal justice. They will be your kind of foundational subjects as well as your legal subjects. In second year, you'll be looking at more advanced modules, advanced criminology, advanced criminal justice. You'll study criminal law. You'll also study a module in psychology called forensic and abnormal psychology. So those modules will kind of build on what you learned in first year. In third year, as some of the other speakers were saying, you will have the option of study abroad, or you can do a work placement. You might want to do a work placement in the area of criminal justice, or you might want to do a work placement with a general legal firm or whatnot. There's decisions that you might make in second year of the degree when you have a bit more of an idea of what you would like to do, maybe in terms of gaining experience when you go into the workplace. And of course, in the final year, you know, like maybe the other degree programs, there's more options available to you there in your final year, you know, depending on what you envisage for yourself in terms of your career when you graduate. You might want to do some more legal modules to build up your experience there, or you might want to do some modules unrelated to criminology and criminal justice if you want to gain a further specialism, or you want to focus more on the criminology, criminal justice side of things. It will really depend on what you kind of experience in your first couple of years of your degree and how you want to graduate in terms of specialisms within the final year of your degree. I just want to talk briefly about the graduate program and our graduates in terms of, I think the slides haven't gone forward there for you, but unfortunately you missed that, but hopefully you got the point from what I was talking about. What have our graduates working in the field of criminal justice, what have they gone on to do really when they graduated from the program? Well, you know, I sometimes think when students are looking at law degrees, they think of solicitor and barrister, and sometimes it's difficult to envisage, you know, the other pathways. So here are some of our own graduates who are working in the field of criminal justice. Some of them are working in research. Some of them are PhD students, or they're lecturers teaching criminology and criminal justice. We have some solicitors working, for example, in the anti-money laundering division with the central bank. There are some of our students working as researchers with the Law Reform Commission, for example, doing reports on legal reform that might be implemented by the government subsequently, or recommending changes to the law. Of course, there's barristers working in a criminal law specialisation. We have had a number of graduates who are working as members of the Gardaí, so they got their law degree and then they went on to become members of the Gardaí. We've got judicial research assistants recently working in the criminal division of the Court of Appeal, and parliamentary advisors to the Minister of State. So the whole range of different career paths that people end up doing. Maybe they don't go in with that perspective from school, but you know, on gaining experience and finding out what they would like to do and the different elements that they would want to focus on, they've gone other directions, maybe away from being a solicitor into other fields also. And just finally, to focus on, you know, who's going to be delivering the course and the experience. We have a range of different people with expertise in the area of criminology and criminal justice, you know, many of whom contribute not just in terms of their own research in the field of criminal justice, but also contributing to public policy, media debates about criminal justice. Conor Hanley, for example, your speaker earlier, is an expert on, he wrote the report Rape and Justice in Ireland, which has been very influential, published by the Rape Crisis Network, and is often cited in debates about sexual violence. As Tom O'Malley, another lecturer there in the programme, he is involved in a lot of media debates, a lot of contribution to public policy, a lot of contribution to reports commissioned by the government in the area of sexual offending, in the area of sentencing. So we have a whole range of different people who will be able to give you the expertise and the time to develop your own skills in the field of criminology and criminal justice, while also graduating with a full law degree. I think I'll finish up there. Hopefully, if you have any questions, I'll be there later for the Q&A, and I'll hand back over to Lisa now.